Especially listening back to this whole list and comparing songs, hundreds of times I was going back and forth listening to parts of songs, listening to entire songs, really trying to make up my mind and convince myself like this song's better than that song. Hey everybody, how's it going? I just finished my top 15 songs of 2015 list. It took me forever to finish this list. I was still changing around like the order of the songs earlier today, but I finally decided on my favorites in order, and I'm really excited to present you guys with this list. But there are some conditions that you're just going to have to live with. This is a top 15 songs list, but you will notice that there are 20 songs. It's actually a 20 song list. This year there are just so many quality songs, and I thought that the quality was so close on all of them. Like, I had a top 27 list once I had narrowed it down to those songs, and I felt like I couldn't cut any of the songs from that list. That's how close in quality the top songs were, and just how many wonderful songs there were this year. So I figured it's my channel, I can do what I want. It's the top 15 list, but I'm going to add 5 extra songs just this year because there are literally that many songs that deserved it and that many songs that were high quality. Second of all, there is a 21st song on the list because one of the songs doesn't really fit into this list at all. So my first and only honorable mention goes to Pray by FT Island. I wouldn't really consider that a pop song, obviously. It's just a really awesome metal or hard rock track. Even though quality-wise, songwriting-wise, performance-wise, it definitely deserves to be on this list, it really doesn't fit in sort of the K-pop sphere of things that I'm ranking here. So instead of putting it in the list, I'm just calling that the #1 hard rock or metal song to come out of Korea this year, period. It was an amazing song, absolutely loved it. And so that's my honorable mention. So now that that's out of the way, let's get started with our top 15 songs list, which happens to start with number 20. Here we go. Number 20, last but definitely not least, is Rise As One by Max from TVXQ. I thought it was just an absolutely fantastic track. The production on it was awesome. It was emotionally moving. And above all else, the vocals in this song are absolutely insane. Max's voice, of course, I think everybody who knows about K-pop knows about Max's voice from TVXQ. He's one of those just like screamer singers that can sing way up there with so much power and control. It's unbelievable. And this song really shows off his entire range, the tone of his voice, and I just can't stop listening to it. And even though it's in the last spot on this list, like I said before, every single song on this list could have easily been #1. It just really came down to my personal preference and having to like pick at the finest little details to rank them and decide, okay, this song, I like it a little bit more than that song. So it is number 20, but that should not be an insult at all. Every single song on this list I thought was top-notch and absolutely fantastic. Number 19 is Mind Your Own Business by Ailey, and this is kind of the song like I've been wanting her to do for quite a long time. I definitely think she could still improve, she could still make better music than this. But this song had a lot of the elements that I've been like craving to hear her voice do. It's a really cool track. The vocals on it, of course, are very good, but the thing that I really liked about it were the backing vocals, and it sounds to me like it's her voice on most or all of them. There could be some studio session singers in there too that are just matching her extremely well, but the backing vocals on this song combined with the leads are just absolutely magical. Super tight harmonies, great concept and performance by Ailey, so this one definitely makes my list. Number 18 is Cupid by Kara, and a lot of people seem to not like this song very much, but I went back and listened to it, and I remembered liking it when it came out. And when I went back to listen to it to judge songs like where they should rank on this list, I was impressed by it all over again. Really cool, kind of funky, disco-y groove for a lot of it. The vocals are insanely good, especially losing the 2 members that they did. The other members really stepped up and filled in, and I was impressed by members' performances in this song who I barely even paid any mind to in previous Kara songs. So definitely an awesome song. It looks like this is going to be Kara's farewell song, which is too bad, but at least they went out with a really solid title track. Number 17 is Chained Up by VIX. They went with a little bit different concept this time, but it still had those qualities that makes VIX so cool and so special. I really liked the low-key vocals throughout. I really liked N's voice doing the leads throughout. And the backing track, especially in the chorus, it was a little bit like subdued, but they were doing a lot of interesting things with it. And even though this song didn't have a ton of those signature VIX soaring like lead vocal parts, I still felt like it was a successful release with really strong songwriting. Number 16 is Loser by Big Bang, and out of all of the Big Bang releases, there were a ton of them this year and a really cool release schedule that YG decided to do. I thought that was really unique and interesting and a good idea. Out of all of those songs, this was by far my favorite. The bridge is just magical. but kind of the feel of the entire track. You'll notice that this is kind of like a ballad, and usually I'm not really too into ballads, but this one was so good and done so well that it just really drew me in and got me interested. And I do also like the overall sort of message and concept of the song. Number 15 is Daddy by Psy. The production on this is just insane. It sounds so huge on any speaker system I play it on. You know, it's absolutely top-notch, polished to perfection. But at the same time, it's really humorous, it's light, it's fun, but that shouldn't diminish Psy's performance or how awesome of a song it actually is. I like the pace of the rapping. I like how the song's energy went up and down a lot during the song. You know, it would really build up and then it kind of give you a break. The kind of emotional roller coaster, intensity roller coaster in this song was just brilliantly done. Everything was perfectly executed. And this may be one of the catchiest songs of the year as far as how long it'll stick in your head after you've heard it. So it's one that's on all my playlists. I've been playing it for a really long time and I had to put it on this list. Number 14 is Ah Oop from Mamamoo featuring Esna, and even though this wasn't nearly as successful as Oh Ah Yeah, which is their kind of runaway hit of 2015, I actually like this song a little bit more. I know a lot of other people didn't because the vocals were really subdued throughout until right at the end, but I actually really like that. The fact that they had the artistic maturity and the direction and the producers where they could hold back being a vocal powerhouse type of group and just really get into kind of the feel of the song, you know, sing everything really appropriately and in a way that, you know, fit in stylistically, and then just open it up and belt at the end of the song like that. I thought it was just brilliantly done, and this is another song that just sticks in your head, at least for me. Number 13 is My House by 2PM, and I think a lot of people might have forgotten this song or kind of glossed over it, but especially listening back to this whole list and comparing songs, you know, hundreds of times I was going back and forth listening to parts of songs, listening to entire songs, really trying to make up my mind and convince myself like this song's better than that song. This song continued to surprise me, and I had it much lower on the list, and as I'd compare it to each song that was above it, I'd keep bumping it up like one more spot, one more spot, one more spot until it finally got all the way up to where it is. It's just a really cool song. The production is huge, very well done with the mixing and mastering, especially considering all of the odd elements that are sort of hidden within it. And they did hide a lot of things. There's a lot of really subtle things going on at once, but they pulled it all together in an amazing way. And 2PM, especially like with the verses, they just executed the vocals so well. It really, really impressed me. Number 12 is Shining Diamond by 17. And I really like the song Adore You. I really liked Monse, but Shining Diamond was by far my favorite. I wish they would have done like a full promoted music video with it. There is a sort of unofficial music video. I don't know if it was a fan edit or if it was only used like behind them when they were performing live. I'm not sure. But there is a music video for it with them in it, and they're actually singing it. It's not like pieced together from other performances. So check that out on YouTube. But Shining Diamond, amazing song, amazing chord changes in it, and their vocals and the harmonies are so cool. One of the main things that they did in it that I really liked is they had sort of the high-pitched voice rappers do sort of a chant part like after the chorus, and they would complete their couple lines, and then the rappers with the lower voices all came in and did a group vocal, again, like a repeat of the same thing. It was just really effective, like trading off of the different vocal sounds. And of course, all the singing parts were really impressive too. And I did hear them do this song live on a radio show, and it sounded better than the recording pretty much. So they are an incredibly impressive group, and this is my favorite song so far by them, so it had to make this list for sure. Number 11 was Brave New World by Brown Eyed Girls, and this was an awesome kind of disco throwback song with extremely modern, like super polished, awesome production on it, and a lot of modern stylistic elements thrown in as well, especially like in that bridge where they did that really odd rap section that just flawlessly and seamlessly took a detour stylistically and then went right back into the kind of disco theme. Really, really brilliant songwriting and producing, and also insanely good vocals. The vocal harmonies in this song throughout were really, really impressive. I talked about those in my reaction/review of this song, so make sure to go back and check that out if you missed it. And this is another one of those songs that I think a lot of people may have kind of glossed over, so if you haven't checked it out, please do yourself a favor and go listen to it. It's an awesome song. Number 10 is Married to the Music by Shinee. There are just some amazingly complex kind of like jazz chords and harmonies within this song. Some really creative use of dissonance, but in a way that it doesn't really sound too dissonant. They're like adding a couple extra notes in each chord, but not enough to make it sound like a train wreck. It just shows incredible songwriting and producing, and of course the execution level that Shinee has to be at to be able to pull off a song like that and have it sound good is just unbelievably high. But of course this is SHINee, so I expect that from them, and this song definitely delivers that high level of songwriting, stylistic cues, and also performance that SHINee is so well known for. Number 9 is Love Me Right by EXO, and this song really surprised me. I think this is the best song that they've done since their debut, you know, like History, Machine, all those tracks. This song was the first song since then that really surprised me and impressed me a lot by them. I think the vocals in this are pretty much up to like a SHINee or a VIX level, you know, that's extremely high level stuff. I really like the sort of funky style of the track. They got horns in it. The rap sections were perfectly placed, you know, they sounded really cool and fit in with the overall style of the song. It didn't sound like they were like a late edition or anything like that. And also the production on this song, just like the drum sounds right from the beginning, hit so hard on good speakers, or really any speakers. It's just incredibly impressive. This is really a song that I think EXO fans should be extremely proud of, because it shows growth, it shows progression from them, and it looks like they're getting better as musicians. You know, they're getting more mature as artists. So that's something that's really cool to see. Number 8 is I Need You by BTS, and I had another track in there, I had Run in there, but when I listened to both of them, it became very clear to me that I liked I Need You a lot more. Just those vocals in the chorus, you know, those harmonies are so well executed and so well written. It's just one of those things that sounds great, and then that cool post-chorus where they cut all the vocals out and they just had that awesome synth and instrumental part. You know, incredible songwriting. I'm a huge fan of this song. And kind of like Love Me Right by EXO, this song for BTS is the song that really impressed me and got my attention and really made me believe that this is like a top level vocal group and a top level performing group. So again, I think BTS fans should be really proud of this song. It shows a lot of growth. If you look at BTS's first releases and then compare it to this, there's a huge amount of growth and improvement there. So this is an incredible track, and that's why it's so high on my list. Number 7 on the list is the song X by FX. This song just has incredible vocals. Actually, I should say right now, I think that this album, 4 Walls by FX, is probably the best overall album of last year. There are just so many great tracks on it. I had a lot of them in my sort of top 40 list that I was going over to narrow it down into making this list. And ultimately I settled on this song as my favorite. You know, it's got that kind of like Prince vibe a little bit. It's got that really funky, hard, sort of wah-wah type bass synthesizers going on in it. And the other thing that I really like is that there's tons of vocals, but they're utilizing each singer perfectly for their vocal timbre, the tone, and the range. And they're doing it kind of interchangeably. Like they'll have one singer sing a certain part the first time to get a certain vocal character, and then they'll switch off to another member maybe the second or third time through to give you a different feel. They didn't go for vocal consistency at all. They went with each member and really kind of followed like where their voice could take that part of the song. So it was so great to see FX come back with a really strong album, and this was my favorite track off of that album. Number 6 is Catch Me If You Can by Girls' Generation. This was more of a dance or EDM track, but I think they did an incredible job mixing the two genres, K-pop and EDM, on this song. This is basically the song that I've been wanting Girls' Generation to do forever. At least for me, being an SNSD fan, this is like the song that I've been waiting for all of my life. This kind of musical style, you know, the hard synthesizers, the hard driving beat, this kind of vocal intensity, the vocal effects that they used, you know, they were just larger than life. The production was amazing. So the fact that they finally did it and the line distribution was so fantastic really made me happy. Number 5 is Vibrato by Stellar. The vocals are amazing. The songwriting and the production was absolutely mind-blowing. You know, pulling off, well, first of all, taking the chance on that tempo change in the bridge, but then pulling it off so smoothly with those vocals coming in at the end of it. Just the execution on this, it really impressed me. Stellar, I don't think gets enough credit. They're an incredibly talented group, especially vocally, and just the overall strangeness and chance-taking that went on in the songwriting of this track, but the fact that it worked out so well and it was such a great song was just incredibly impressive. If this hadn't been such a strong year for so many great songs, this song could have easily been number 1. Any of the top 5 songs could have easily been number 1. Number 4 is Shake It by Sistar. Definitely one of my favorite songs of the year. I've been playing it since it came out, you know, all the time. It's a very upbeat, happy song. The vocals on it, especially from Hyorin and Soyu, are just incredible. I can't say enough good things about them. You know, it's a fun song, it's intense, it's also very groovy and funky, it kind of gets you going. It's just the kind of song that I love listening to, and I love seeing how happy they look when they're performing it too. You can tell like they're really enjoying it. And when music is written in that way and it just like strikes a chord with the group that's performing it, magic happens basically. And that's what I'm seeing and hearing every time I watch that music video. So definitely one of my favorite songs of the year. Number 3 was actually a Japanese language release that came out right at the end of the year, but it was still in 2015, so it counts, and that's Dance Dance Dance, or DXDXD by SHINee. I've already said so much about SHINee, I don't need to say a whole lot more. You guys know how amazing their vocals are, but this song, this like kind of genre, with that kind of hard EDM synthesizer, but it's still very pop, very SHINee, a little bit, you know, jazz chords in there. Very, very complex stuff musically and harmonically. That's kind of the signature of SHINee, being able to perform that vocally. This song was like a perfect example of that. And it's one of those songs that I can listen to over and over and I never get sick of it. Just an absolutely incredible song by SHINee. Number 2 is actually Fire Alarm from SNSD, and I wish they would have done this song instead of Party or Lionheart or You Think and given this one a music video. I think it was hugely underrated. A lot of people probably missed it because it was kind of a deep cut on the album, but I absolutely love this track. The funkiness, again, we've got that kind of intense, hard synthesizers, more of like an EDM kind of sound. A lot of people have compared this song to like a SHINee song, but SNSD is doing it, and it shows you how talented they really are if they can pull off a song that people are comparing to SHINee, which is kind of an avant-garde, you know, experimental, very complex music type of group. The fact that SNSD, which is a more mainstream group, can pull that off vocally and stylistically is incredibly impressive. And the bass line, if the song was just the bass line, it'd still be worth listening to. It's so good. And then, of course, the vocal harmonies throughout are incredible. And I love the way the song progresses with the songwriting. It really kind of takes you on a ride. And number 1, my top song of 2015 is Hurt Locker by Nine Muses. This song was just mind-blowingly good. If you watch my review of it, I was talking about how this song can like uplift you. It can make you feel better if you're not feeling very well or if you're sad. It's one of those songs that it comes on the speakers and it just like creates energy in the room. This song just has an incredible quality that's almost hard for me to explain, and there are a lot of things that go into it to kind of create that magic. The chord progressions, the synth parts, you know, the layers that they're putting in there. Again, I'm talking about a lot of complex harmonic stuff like SHINee does, the SNSD song. There's a lot of them on the list. The BTS song, I Need You. Lots of sort of complex, layered, really thick harmonies. This song does that too, but it does it in such a way, it's a very specific thing that they just nailed with the songwriting, that it just gives you goosebumps when you hear it almost immediately. So a big part of it is the songwriting, another big part of it is the vocal tones and the execution, and how Nine Muses was able to kind of emote and put a lot of emotion into this song. A lot of times people talk about pop music, you know, not having a lot of like direct heartfelt emotion in it, which is something that I disagree with in a lot of cases. It's certainly true for some pop music, but there's a lot of pop music that has a lot of emotion in it, and this is one of those songs. I felt like they really connected with this song in the studio, and their vocals when they were singing it were just electrified. Like they really realized that they were making something magic, and it's like it was inspiring them too as they were making it. And I think that, plus their vocal skill and tone, just kind of came together and made it something bigger than like the sum of all of its parts. I'd actually be really curious to talk to them about that and kind of ask them if they realized how amazing this song was coming out like as they were making it in the studio, or at what point they realized, you know, in the production process, oh wow, you know, we're really doing something special here. Because I feel like I'm hearing that knowledge within them coming through their voices, like they have realized, you know, wow, we're really doing something special, and just kind of putting their all into it. That's the impression that I get every time I hear this song. And really, even though like the top 5 on this list, the top 10 on this list could have easily been number 1, I think that's the quality in this song that really set it apart. It was that emotional X factor that you can't put your finger on, that this song just has so much of. It's that special thing that just set it apart a little bit over all the rest of these really good songs. So congratulations, Nine Muses. You have the top song of all of 2015 in my opinion. I absolutely enjoyed it. Thank you so much for giving us this song to listen to. And anyway, as for everybody who's watching this, I hope you really enjoyed this list. Again, as usual, these are my personal favorites. Obviously, everybody's list is going to be very different probably. I'd love to hear you guys' lists in the comments below, or if you have any thoughts about things I've said about these songs, or if you thought, you know, I should have ranked one in particular a lot higher or lower or anything like that. I'd love to hear your comments and get your feedback. And even if you disagreed with this list, I think all of the songs on here are high enough quality that you'll really enjoy listening to them. So I've made a YouTube playlist of all of these songs in order. You can also hear my top 40 songs. That was the list I started with. I kind of took all the songs from 2015 and I narrowed it down to 40 songs, which I took and then made this list from that bigger list. So you can actually watch both of those playlists, the top 20 and the top 40, in the video description below. Feel free to watch those. I really would recommend it. All of these songs come highly recommended from me, and I hope you guys will enjoy some great music and reminisce about 2015. So thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.